Homecoming. Virgil was excited. He just got back from an exchange program and was going to surprise his best friend. Senora Rodriguez just happened to be stepping out when he arrived at the Rodriguez house and greeted him like family as always. This meant, though, that he was let in without having to ring the doorbell, which meant he got to sneak up to Rose's room without alerting the resident theater nerd. He couldn't wait to show off all the pictures he took. Some were perfect for his portfolio. He arrived at Roman's bedroom door and pondered the entrance that would get the biggest reaction out of him. Roman was there all right, having an argument it seemed, though it was muffled. The twins tended to be loud, so their parents had wisely invested in good isolation. You could still hear them if you stood in front of the door while they performed, schemed, or bigger too. He slowly opened the door and caught the next bit of interaction. Virgil! Roman hissed. Bemis was silent for a moment. Virgil? Well, he sounded skeptical. Virgil! Roman's reply was determined. Huh. Weird convo, but a good setup. You've summoned me, he grinned as he opened the door fully. Roman spun around, his grin wide, eyes excited. Virgil! He exclaimed as he jumped to embrace him. Whoa there, handsome. Miss me that much? He grinned as he returned the hug. He sure missed him. Roman stiffened and pulled back, his eyes a bit guilty but pleading. Virgil kept his face in check. Ro needed him to back him up on something. Then Roman reached for his face, and V recognized his movements from when they practiced stage kissing for Ro's first role with a love interest. He was confused, but played along, blocking so Remus couldn't see if their lips touched and stuff. He pulled back with a grin. My boyfriend shows up after ditching me for 2 months, Roman said, grinning brightly but still with a tinge of guilt in his eyes. Of course I'm happy to see you. Okay, the stage kiss clued him in, but still it's a bit out of nowhere. He looked past Roman where Remus stood. Clearly Remus isn't sure if he should be excited, incredulous, or suspicious, so his face alternates between all three. So he was serious? You two are a thing now? He asked incredulous. From the sound of it, Roman had only just claimed him as his boyfriend, for whatever reason. Sophie decided to improvise. Have been for 4 months now. It's our anniversary, he tells him smoothly. Which is why I came by to surprise him and ask him on a date for tonight. Didn't expect you to be part of it, though, he said, before looking at his apparent boyfriend. He was being a bully about setting me up with a date for prom and stuff. I just couldn't get him to stop until I admitted we were going as a couple this year, Roman explained. 100% guilty now. Virgil, wanting to reassure his best friend and keep their cover, kissed him on the top of his head. It's all right, Princey, he said soothingly before looking up to Remus again. I didn't want to jinx it, especially with me going to Spain for 2 months, but I guess it was time we told people, he shrugged. Now, if you'll excuse us, I want to say hi to my boyfriend before unpacking and getting stuff ready for our date, Virgil stated, turning them a little so Remus could get past them and could see them exchange a smitten smile as they locked eyes. Ugh, fine, gross. Congrats and use protection, Remus said as he rushed out the door and closed it. Remus! Roman complained, flustered, making his brother laugh before they heard his bedroom door close. Virgil let go of Roman, took a step back, and crossed his arms while looking at him expectantly. This should be interesting. Roman was playing with the cuff of his sleeve. I really am glad to see you. And I love the surprise, he muttered. Oh, I'm the one who got surprised here, Virgil pointed out. I'm sorry. I just I just wanted him to leave me alone and I wasn't thinking clearly, and I'd been thinking of you coming home today anyway, so aw, that was kinda sweet. Virgil let out a sigh. He'd known the Swins forever. Their parents were close. When they were little, Remus had occasionally been a bit much and for a nervous and shy baby Virgil. Woman was a lot too, but little V had an easier time with his kind of stories and adventures. Now that they were older, V was pretty close with the living disaster as well, though he and Roman remained the closest. Virgil had gotten better at dealing with his own thoughts and sensitivities. One might on occasion even say that he felt comfortable in his skin, confident even. To have a good therapist and the right coping tools along with a good support system. Which was why Virgil felt safe to rub in one last dig at his plan before getting to the part where he helped him pull it off. He wasn't going to do anything more interesting with his love life this year anyway. If you were thinking, you might have said you had a crush rather than full on dating, he pointed out. Woman's face was overcome with realization, and he groaned as he walked to his bed and let himself fall on its face first. Guess I got a date to plan then, Virgil sighed. Woman sat up so fast it was almost cartoonish. Really? You'll help me? He asked, relieved. Virgil shrugged. A convincing fake relationship is just us with some PDA. People assumed we were dating all the time, he pointed out. Woman flushed. But PDA? The aspiring photographer nodded. Holding hands, cuddling, kissing once we're comfortable with that. We won't get away with blocking for a whole year, he pointed out. If Roman wanted his brother off his back, they'd have to at last till after prom. And Virgil had always been good at figuring out every possible scenario, so building in contingencies so they wouldn't get caught was a breeze. I guess you were right, the woman sighed. Then he looked up with a sheepish smile. About the date, though. I already had some stuff planned for today. A welcome home thing. I thought you'd catch up with your parents first. They were in on it. Virgil chuckled. That explained his parents trying to stop him from jumping on his bike and heading here right away. My bad. I guess I'll plan our second date then, he offered. We'll figure it out. Worst come to worst, we say that stuff changed over the summer and it didn't work out, he assured his friend. So, I'll see you at my place? He asked. Woman nodded. Welcome back. And thanks, he offered. V grinned. Good to be back. You are clearly a mess without me, he teased before heading out. Woman fell back onto his bed. What had he gotten himself into? Virgil had been right. A fake crush would have been so much easier to pull off. But now he dragged them both into this dating scheme. This couldn't go well. He'd read fanfiction. These things were bound to get messy. Maybe he should give up on the ruse and just deal with Remus playing the world's worst matchmaker. Then again, Virgil had a point. To an outsider, they already looked like a couple. All that was missing was holding hands and stealing a kiss in public. His face flushed at that. His first kiss would be a pretend kiss with his best friend. Then again, it could be worse. He knew V was nice and wouldn't ditch him the second he got what he wanted. He'd probably try his best to make it as special as possible. He was a good guy like that. And that decided it for Roman. He'd give his best friend an out tonight. And an out every single day going forward should he find someone he really liked. He nodded to himself and got up to get ready for the welcome home hangout fake date, where he and Virgil would very likely fake break up. Virgil looked really good though. He'd put together something nice. A dark blue button down, some nice black pants, and his dark denim jacket. Roman had done his best to look good too, but V could have gotten away with comfy stuff like he preferred, considering he just got back from Spain. They complimented each other, and V didn't even hesitate in taking his hand, though his eyes checked if it was okay. And it was. Woman didn't think there was much V could do that would make him uncomfortable. The date was a tour along all their favorite spots in town, be it shops, food joints, the park, or the pier where they sat on the edge and snacked on their pizza together as the sun set. Okay, awesome first day back and a pretty incredible first fake date, Virgil complimented. Woman smiled. Now was the time to give him the art he supposed. Speaking of firsts, two things, Virgil started before Roman could even start the speech he'd prepared. I was thinking that it would be super cute if you took me on a reenactment of our first date for our anniversary. That'll make it much easier. Other dates we can just say stuff we already did when we had our bestie only hangouts. Those work fine for the most part. Women suppose they did. Then Virgil cleared his throat, put their cardboard dishes aside, planting his shopping bag on top so they wouldn't fly off. He took Woman's hand and looked up, nervous for the first time since they started. And, well, if it's alright with you, I kinda want to get the first kiss out of the way now so it doesn't hang over our heads or happens in a way we don't like. You can say no, of course, but, well, if someone said I'd go on a date tonight and give away my first kiss, I'd hope it was you. Not because I'm secretly in love with you, but because I can't think of anyone I trust more than you. And on the pier at sunset isn't a bad place for this, so what do you think? Woman was astonished. You really want to go through with this? He verified. Virgil nodded. So long as it gives us both some peace of mind. You know Remus would have decided I need a match too before the month was over, he stated simply. Just so long as we talk to each other. Okay? Woman nodded, eyes drifting to the purple painted lips. This really wasn't the worst first kiss he could have had. He reached out a hand to cup Virgil's cheek. Virgil mirrored his moves and soon they were kissing, quickly evolving to making out, the release of adrenaline or something making them get carried away. After a while, Woman didn't even know who initiated. They pulled apart, both more than a little breathless. They stared at each other for long moments until Virgil let out a shaky breath. It might have been a laugh, and leaned their foreheads together. This was kinda nice too. So, newsflash, kissing is kinda fun. Who knew? Woman couldn't help but laugh at that. Right? It should be way grosser, but it's... I don't know. Virgil sat up and leaned back on his hands, facing the sunset. Yeah, good to know that that won't suck too much. I was worried it might be weird. I'm glad it isn't. Nothing ever is with you, huh? He pondered. Woman nodded. Same, he agreed. Virgil walked him home and, with a playful smirk, kissed him good night. This time they didn't get carried away. Good thing, because Remus had been spying. By the time Roman got to his room, was draped across his bed with the biggest grin. What? Roman asked as he started changing into his sleepwear. Took you kids long enough. I'm almost sad that my jealousy scheme wasn't needed. But I'm too stoked you figured it out on your own. Proud of you, bro. I did spill the beans to the gang, though, but the parents don't know yet. So you get to officially introduce V as your boyfriend when you are ready, Remus promised as he got up and sauntered past him to his own room, not allowing for any follow-up questions from Roman. It didn't matter. He got the essentials. He texted Virgil to let him know that their friend group was aware of their new status and that the matchmaking thing was intended to get the two of them to start dating. Virgil sent him a laughing while crying emoji and the message that it worked. Woman smirked. It kinda did, except there was no, oh, I am in love with my best friend moment, as Remus had undoubtedly intended. The ruse went almost uncomfortably well. Their friends and family had apparently been rooting for them since middle school, and they didn't have to change how they acted that much. As we predicted, the only real difference was more touching and occasional kisses and even some making out, which neither of them minded that much. They were comfortable with each other, so cuddling on movie nights and holding hands as they walked through the school was not that big a deal. And they'd always been pretty open about how they thought the other was attractive, in a physical sense. And they weren't too bad at kissing and getting better with time. So why not, really? The uncomfortable bit came with no one questioning them being together. Not even the people who knew them and saw them fake it up close. It made Roman wonder, were they that good? Or did other people see things that they had been missing for years? The weekly date night talks alleviated that worry for him. They checked with each other on their comfort levels and their hang-ups, They talked about calling it quits now that they knew that getting them to date was Remus's endgame. Having dated and breaking up should fully get him off their back. They decided against it because there had been benefits to being an item. They had a date to every function. Family members were far less bothersome. People let you have time alone with one another if you wanted it. And things went great, and every worry woman had that things would get more complicated than they were eased each time with Virgil's calm and certain voice. Where was the time when he was fidgeting through even the simplest of conversations? To be fair, he still did that when left alone with stranger, or people he didn't feel comfortable with, like Elijah. Woman was meeting Virgil. They take the young actor's car, which was currently in the library parking lot. Virgil had texted him that he'd arrived. Woman was about to round the corner, out of sight but not hearing range. And he heard him. Hey there, kitten. Elijah's voice purred, making Woman freeze in his spot. Virgil had liked Elijah. He'd sighed and daydreamed about him for weeks until Woman managed to push away the I do not trust him bile in his throat and encouraged him to go talk to him. Elijah was a real bad boy with a motorbike and a jacket and dyed hair like feet. But he also smoked and disrespected authority figures and skipped class. Woman never understood why Virgil liked him. And then when he called him up not even 30 minutes into the date he'd gotten thanks to Woman hyping him up to ask the walking red flag out, he'd been ready to punch him before even hearing what he did. Nothing, apparently. He ditched Virgil in the pouring rain because someone called him to hang in an abandoned house and V was not okay with going to such a place ever, never mind as a first date. Woman was frozen now, not sure what to do. Get that dead stick out of my face, Jones, Virgil bit. Oh, has my kitten gone unclawed? And Elijah wondered. He sounded dismissive, but intrigued. I'm not sure anything, least of all your kitten, Virgil pointed out. He was clearly not comfortable. Come on, Lex, move. Oh, don't be like that, pet. I can see I still affect you. You're still as adorably fidgety around me as when you asked me out. Woman's heart stopped for a second at that. Virgil couldn't be alone with this dude. He had to do something. Haven't we played this game long enough? You win. I came to you first. Though leading your little friend on just to make me jealous is a bit underhanded. I didn't think you had it in you. I'm impressed and flattered, he purred. One, step back. Two, game? Leaving me in the rain with no way home was part of a game? Virgil seeded. Yeah, Elijah chuckled dismissively, as if it were obvious. You tried to make me pick you over a good time with my buddy, which is a bit high stake on a date, but I rolled with it. I showed that you weren't as hot as you thought you were. I expected you to call me so we could have fun. I almost went back to check on you, but then I saw you with your theater geek at a pizza place. Sneaky getting me to worry you that way. This dude was mental. And they hadn't gone to the pizza place until Woman had driven around for an hour to calm them both down. Add to that the 20 minutes it took to find V on the random road, and the 15 minutes it took him to give up on hoping Elijah would come to his senses and pick him up. That is way too long to leave someone to their own devices in the pouring rain. And then you came to school acting like I didn't exist? That stung, but I handled that quite well too. Figured you'd grow tired of it and come to me. Then you disappear for a whole summer, only to come back and reveal you are dating your theater geek? There is only so much I can take, kitten. You've proven your point. Now let's go for that ride you wanted. I know a fun place we can fool around a bit. You should let the kid know you two are over by tonight, though. I don't like sharing. Okay, his voice started to sound frustrated. Roman really had to get moving. He took a deep breath and finally made himself take another step. How about knowing hell? I was over you pretty much the second you ditched me. I wasn't that into you anymore when you acted like you were the best thing since sliced bread when I asked you out. And that geek is named Roman, and he is worth 1,000 of you. He knows me, and he supports me, and he's funny, and he drives me crazy in 100 ways, and I would actually go mental if he decided we were over. I've probably been in love with him since we were 12, but didn't realize it until recently. Fuck, I love him so damn much. Woman felt his face flush at that last bit. That sounded like a real genuine oh I love him moment. And it honestly made Roman happy. We loved him. Wait, he loved V. Wow. Hey, what the? Let go of me! Woman rushed forward now and caught sight of the two of them. Elijah had grabbed Virgil's arm and Virgil was resisting being dragged away. He saw red. He took off in a sprint and tackled the bastard to the ground. He sat up with his legs on either side of the other teen's torso and grabbed his collar. Hands off of my storm cloud! He bellowed, and the rebel troublemaker looked actually scared. Well, babe? Woman looked up. Virgil. He got off the not so cool now hotshot and held V's face so he could look at him. You okay? He didn't hurt you or anything, did he? He asked, not caring that his foe scrambled away. Virgil allowed for a soft, slightly shaky smile. Woman nodded, determined. Good. And then he kissed him. He kissed him and held him, and he knew they both knew that this was different. They both knew that they'd have to talk and make decisions and understand when they had become a couple without realizing. Things that mattered and things that were side notes in the scope of this massive shift in their perspectives. But now, in this moment, they just wanted to be and let the future wait another minute.